Hey, friends, I'm Otis Gibbs, and this is my buddy Kenny Vaughan. He's going to talk about recording with Levon Helm.
No, I worked with Levon on a record. This friend of mine he's a really good engineer and a good songwriter and a good producer, really good. But he wanted to make a record, and he decided that he was going to hire Levon to play drums. That's what he wanted. And I think on bass we had a couple of days we had Dave Jakes on bass, and a couple of days we had Gary Talent on bass. But I'll never forget the first day, I meet Levon, hey man, he was real nice, just a good old boy, He was a pothead, big time. He just had cancer, throat surgery, and he's like, just puffing massive amounts of weed all day long. And I got contact high just being around him, It was so strong. But anyway, we sat down, and for whatever reason, I was in the studio. I was positioned right, looking square at him, about 5 feet away. I got my headphones on, and I'm looking at Levon. And so we're running the first tune. I was like, I'm working and I'm looking at my chart, and I look up at Levon, and he's like, and I just look at it, and it hit me. I said, "That's Levon Helm." It's like he became Levon Helm. He's like this weird little redneck dude, and then all of a sudden he's Levon Helm when he picks up the sticks and starts playing. I was like, wow, it was awesome. And all week it was like that. It was just so much fun just to, you count off a song and start playing, It was so good. He had a sound, I was talking to a drummer friend of mine, just today, this morning about, I grew up in the age where drummers had sounds. Like Charlie had a sound, right? Ringo had a sound. John Dinsmore had a sound. I cited a lot of we talked about a lot of different cats like that. Mitch Mitchell had a sound, Levon had a sound. You knew it was Levon when you heard him, and they all played differently than each other. They all sounded different. They didn't sound like, nobody else sounded like Levon. Nobody sounded like Mitch Mitchell. Mitch Mitchell kind of sounded like Elvin Jones, but, but he did his own thing with it, And Mick Fleetwood, there was another one. Nobody sounded like Mick Fleetwood. He had this certain thing, even though he's playing very simply. He had a thing, man. He had a sound, identity, a footprint, And I kind of missed that.
You could be in a session and just say Mick Fleetwood, and the drummer would
Change gears.
know what
Yeah.
you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yesterday I was in a session, and the producer said, Levon. That's all he said.
Mm-hmm.
The drummer. He changed his kick drum pattern.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Everybody knew.
Right. It's that's a thing of the past, kind of. It's different now. But back in those days, they were so distinct. I was really fortunate to hang out with him for a week. It was great. We didn't bother him too much about that. We didn't pump him, because he probably gets pumped all the time. He tells us about Bob Dylan or whatever. We didn't. We just talked about whatever. Talked about his health probably more than anything. And then that guy, he flew Garth in to do some overdubs. And that was pretty cool. Hey, talk about an oddball, man. Whoa. The last man standing. I would have guessed him to be the first one to go, But I'm a huge fan of those guys. The first two albums were very prominent everywhere. Everybody had those records, as far as I know. I certainly did. I read his book recently. It came out a long time ago. Levon's book. Yeah. That was really good. Oh man, you learn a lot in there. The Hawks, especially, that's a big part of the book. I didn't realize how popular they were and how much they worked. And they were making a lot of money, doing quite well, really. And Toronto and working around that area, East Coast kind of thing. But yeah, it's a really good book. I saw a thing where he said, I never really thought it was a good idea to have a going out of business concert. I thought that was pretty great. I just heard that like last week.